Hello, and welcome to the annual meeting of the Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County. My name is Vivian Lieberman, and I am so pleased to serve as chair tonight with my good friends, Bob and Anita Naftaly. You will hear a little bit from them later. The annual meeting is a time to celebrate the accomplishments of the past year, and we certainly have a lot to celebrate. It is so heartwarming to see a room full of people who care about our Jewish community in the Palm Beaches. And I thank Temple Emmanuel for hosting us this evening. I'd also like to thank and acknowledge those who are joining us virtually from all around the country. Thank you, and please interact in our Zoom chat. In our Zoom chat room, there will be lots of mazel tovs to go around tonight. We have many community leaders with us. We have Hope Silverman, the Federation Board Chair. Susan Shulman Pertnoy, Federation's Board Chair-elect. And Michael Hoffman, our President and CEO. We have leaders from our partner agencies and clergy from our local synagogues, and we thank you all for being here. I would like to take a moment to remember the passing of several dedicated leaders. They have made a profound impact here, laying the foundation for what we are and what we can become. Please join me in a moment of silence to honor these individuals. May their memories be a blessing. Thank you so much. This evening, we will acknowledge many of the dedicated individuals who are leading our community. We will start with a moment of reflection. As you can see in your program, Rabbi Yaron Kapitolnik from Temple Judea was to have offered us words of Torah. Unfortunately, Rabbi Yaron had an unexpected medical situation yesterday that prevented him from being here. We wish him a full and speedy recovery. Thank you very much to Rabbi Michael Resnick of Temple Emmanuel, our beautiful setting for this evening, who graciously jumped in to share tonight's Devar Torah. You don't have to stand.
Not bad. I'll put it back.
Okay. I need it.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. These words are mine, not Rabbi Kapitolnik. So if you want to blame anybody afterwards, look only to me. Wishing Yaron a quick and full recovery. He's doing much better, and we're very happy that he is. Jewish Federation, there's two words that jump out, Federation and Jewish. And I looked it up online, and Federation is a bigger group made up from smaller components. And it made me think a little bit about the smaller components that make up the Federation and our Jewish community. Ultimately, the Federation is us. The Federation are the people who work and volunteer and give of their time and effort and resources to make this organization run and to do good. And it made me think a little bit about what does that mean for us as individuals. I want to share with you something, a little Hasidic story goes the following. And it's funny, we live in a world where we're so obsessed with what influencers do. I mean, when I was younger, I never heard of the word influencer, but there are people who have 50 million people who watch them and follow what they do and what they say. And our tradition is a little bit different than that. And it goes as follows. Here's a man who says, I don't want to follow influencer. Amar Rabbi Simcha Bunim. Anita said, is that bell telling me to get off already? Okay, or is that someone's phone? Okay, thought it was like the Academy Awards. So Anita say, Lehita Alepim Avraham Avinu. I don't want to change places with Avraham Avinu, the great Abraham. I don't want to change places with him. Why? Ma yariach Hashem im Avraham Avinu yeh kmo simcha bunim, simcha bunim yeh kmo Avraham Avinu. What good does it do God if Abraham is like me or I am like Abraham? Min hara'ui, it's more appropriate. She'asaf lihita alot k'tzat alatzmi. It's much better that I work on making myself a little bit better. I don't want to be like anybody else. I don't want to follow anybody else's examples. Okay, I want to strive by myself to be the best that I can be. You're going to hear an expression tonight, and I'm going to be one of the ones who said it because they told me to, and the little thing I'm going to do later. We're going to go from strength to strength. And I want to say to everybody that the Federation's going from strength to strength will depend on us going from strength to strength as Jews. You can't have a strong Jewish community without strong Jews. You can't have us doing sacred work if we don't work as Jews to understand what our tradition really tells us. And I'm going to ask you to all join synagogues. I don't care which one, although this is a nice one. But I don't care which one, because there are no institutions in a community that are better suited to working on a person's soul, on our character, than a synagogue. This is where the rubber meets the road, where our tradition is brought into our hearts more than any other place. And if we strengthen ourselves here as Jews, learning, finding out what our tradition is in all its fullness, and if any of you think that you know it all already, have climbed to the top of the mountain of Jewish I know it allness, good for you. You should be the rabbi here, okay? But if you're like the rest of us, we don't know it all. We have room to grow, and we need to work on that so that we can become passionately connected to Judaism, to what it truly represents, and that will bring the fuel to our work here as a community. The aggregate will strengthen the institution as a whole. So when we go from strength to strength, may this year be a year in which we, especially this year, how much work the world needs, how much tikkun is in front of us. And the only way we can really do it is if we strengthen ourselves even more with our own Jewish identities, with the beautiful values that represent our people, that have nourished and inspired and driven us to who we are today. So keep growing, keep learning. And I want to end with one little more passage, a little Hasidic something. It's not a technical term. Amar Rabbi, this is from Shlomo of Karlin, and he said the following, and he's talking about us, and he's talking about the world we live in, even though he wrote this hundreds of years ago. If you want to raise up somebody who's stuck in the mud, if you want to make the world a better place, if we want to change the world, someone is stuck, someone is in a disadvantaged position, the world needs to be healed. If you want to make a difference, then this is what you do. Al tachshov sheshadai lecha adam lemoshit lo et yadcha. Don't think it's enough to just put your hand out. You can't do it. It's not that easy. You want to make real change, you have to do real work. You just can't symbolically put your hand out. No, what do you have to do? Alecha laredet lamata. You have to get down. Letoch habots, in the middle of the mud. Litfos oto b'shtei yadayim chazakot. Grab him with two strong hands. And limshoch oto ve'et atzmecha laor. And lift up him, them, the world, the challenges, and bring yourself and them to the light. Can't do this a little bit. Judaism and the world and its needs demand our full effort. Two hands. So join a synagogue, learn, unless of course you're learning every day on your own at home. I'll ask, no, I'm not going to. Then this is the place, or any synagogue, where we learn, we grow, and in doing so, everyone, we will bring this community, this federation, this beautiful town that we live in, this beautiful country that we are a part of, and we'll bring it a little bit more to the light and a little more to good. And in doing so, make the world a better place. Thanks for being here. Okay.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Resnick, for such a beautiful and meaningful Dvar Torah. Tonight, we are here to celebrate one of the most inspiring and dedicated woman I know, Hope Silverman. Hope and I started our Palm Beach Federation journey more than 20 years ago when we were on a Lion of Judah conference trip in Israel with the Detroit Federation. We were both still living in Detroit. I had been here part-time and Hope had just moved here. We met the women from Palm Beach and we were so excited about meeting them. After that trip, Hope got involved as a Lion locally right away. It took me a little more time, but neither of us have looked back. Hope's leadership roles include being on the Women's Philanthropy Board, becoming the Women's Campaign and Board Chair, and finally, she was serving as the annual campaign chair for Federation. She also sat on the National Women's Philanthropy Board many years ago. Hope helped me on my own leadership journey, just as she has done for so many others. She was my Pied Piper, and I'm happy to be on this journey with her. Hope is my best friend and my mentor. She is a true leader, someone who is passionate about helping others. My life is more fulfilled because of my connection to Federation, and I owe that to Hope. Hope works in partnership with the Federation staff, the board, and with lay leaders on planning and strategy. She's connecting with donors and attending committee meetings, and we all know Federation has lots of committees. I know that she has loved all her roles at Federation. However, it's clear serving as chair has been her favorite role yet. You can see it in her eyes, hear it in her words when she shares what our Federation does to support Jewish life here and around the world. Hope is such a people person, yet the virtual world hasn't slowed her down. She has somehow transcended the physics of Zoom to make people feel welcome and included. I am happy to celebrate such a successful year and an inspiring woman who is more than my best friend. She is family. I am pleased now to introduce my co-chairs for this evening, Anita and Bob Naftaly.
We are honored to pay tribute tonight to our dear friend, Hope Silverman.
Serving as board chair during the pandemic was a challenge, but for those of us who know her, it was reassuring knowing that Hope was in this position.
We've known Hope and Jean for many years, going back to Michigan. They're a wonderful couple. It was there that we first saw Hope holding leadership roles that earned her the prestigious Community Heart of Gold Award.
Throughout her life, Hope has been an outstanding leader and a problem solver who gets things done, and who also has that rare gift of incredible person-to-person connection.
For those of us lucky enough to call Hope a friend, she's charming, fun to be around, inclusive, and especially sensitive to those who are alone, even including them in holiday celebrations.
Hope shares good concrete advice and resources. She's steady and level-headed. She is aptly named Hope.
She represents the goodness in people and our shared humanity. Hope cares deeply about people, about our community, and about Israel.
She also brings sunshine, warmth, empathy, and compassion with her wherever she goes.
We are fortunate to have Hope's leadership here in Palm Beach and at this Federation. Yasher Koach, Hope.
May you continue to go from strength to strength.
Now I am pleased to introduce Federation CEO Michael Hoffman with a special presentation for Hope.
Thank you, Vivian. And I'm so grateful to be here in person with all of you. And I also appreciate everyone who is joining us virtually as we are here to recognize and acknowledge my partner, Hope Silverman. A bit late in the program, I will give you my full report on the state of our Federation and the state of our Palm Beach Jewish community. But right now, I want to take a few moments to acknowledge Hope Silverman as she concludes her 2-year term as board chair of the Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County. There's a good reason why Hope's name keeps coming up this evening. Every individual who has served as board chair of our Federation bears an incredible load of responsibility. But Hope has led our Federation through what has been the most unique two-year journey, to say the least. Hope started her term in the outset of the worst pandemic and public health crisis in 100 years. We had a conflict in Israel at the end of the first year of her term. And now, as she ends her term, we are in the midst of a global crisis, the most significant in 80 years, with Russia's invasion of Ukraine. We have faced financial upheaval. We have shut down. We have reopened. We've shut down and we've reopened. Yet through this extraordinary level of uncertainty facing the world around us, Hope has led us with clarity, purpose, warmth, and a good dose of levity. Hope believes passionately in our mission and in the potential of our Jewish community and our Jewish Federation. That's what drives her to be such an effective leader, an advocate, and a campaigner. And wow, does she campaign. Hope will talk with anyone, absolutely anyone, so be careful, about what we do, who we help, and she is not shy about asking for a gift to Federation. And I'm sure many people in this room and many people who are participating virtually have been on the receiving end on one of Hope's asks, where she is telling you on why you need to increase your gift, to make a gift, or to make a new gift. Hope was a big factor in the increase that we have seen in our overall fundraising for the 2021 and 22 annual campaigns. And in recognition and appreciation of Hope's exceptional leadership as board chair and as one of the foremost effective campaigners for Federation, tonight, I'm very pleased to announce that we will be establishing a new award in Hope's honor. We will be creating the Hope Silverman Campaigner of the Year Award. This award will be given each year to an individual in the Palm Beaches who advances Federation's impact through their connection with donors and through both solicitation and stewardship efforts. The recipient of the Hope Silverman Campaigner of the Year Award will demonstrate leadership, encourages new and increased commitments to the annual campaign, and serves as a role model for their peers. This represents what Hope has been to us in her more than 20 years of working on behalf of our Palm Beach Federation's development efforts. Congratulations, Hope. And it is my pleasure to present the inaugural Hope Silverman Campaigner of the Year Award to Hope Silverman. That's really funny. That was Hope's joke. This is what I dealt with for 2 years. To David Shulman. Not that David Shulman, but a different David Shulman. David Shulman, you're great too, Dave. David has been a steadfast campaign leader for the Frenchman's Creek campaign for over a decade. He has served as chair of the Frenchman's Creek campaign. He served on their campaign committee and event chair, and he has played a critical role in the growth, which this year, Frenchman's Creek campaign has raised more than $2 million to the Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County annual campaign. Over the years, David has personally closed more than 500 gifts, and these gifts have totaled more than $2 million. And just as important, David is the type of leader who is the first to volunteer, the first to step up, because he wants to encourage every person who is living in Frenchman's Creek to increase their level of involvement within our Jewish Federation, as well as support our Jewish Federation. David, unfortunately, has experienced some health challenges over this past year. But despite that, he has remained deeply committed to fulfilling what he has saw as his responsibility to reach out to his assigned donors early in the campaign to ensure that he could have a meaningful conversation with them to support our campaign. And if that does not epitomize inspiration and commitment, I don't know what does. So David, on behalf of a very grateful community, thank you and Mazal Tov on winning this year's Hope Silverman Campaigner of the Year Award. David and his wife, Carol, were not able to join us in person today, but they are with us on the Zoom. And I encourage all of you on Zoom to recognize and thank David and wish him Mazal Tov on winning this year's Hope Silverman Campaigner of the Year Award. Hope, we have been keeping this announcement a little bit of a secret, and we wanted to surprise you with it. And there are more surprises to come. Your enthusiasm is contagious, not in the COVID way, in the good way. You have been looking forward to being Federation Board Chair for a long time. And those of you who know her well know that she plans to meet every single person, and I mean everyone, during her term as Federation's board chair. And of course, the pandemic made that impossible. So because of that, there are probably some community leaders who you may not have had an opportunity to meet with in person or as often as you would have liked to. So rather than listening to me here, telling you about how wonderful you are, which I know actually you would like that, because you are wonderful, we have gathered a few people who know you and know what it's like to be board chair. I'm going to let them do the talking.
She gets along with everybody. She makes a point, I think, to get along with people. And that's a quality of leadership, is knowing who are the players in the agencies. Who do you have to deal with? Who are the important decision makers? And how do you relate to them? And I think Hope's been very good at developing that skill and exercising it as she's chaired the Federation and before.
She's committed. It's not just to the Federation, but it's to the entire Jewish community, to the synagogues, to the agencies, to the Federation, to the broader Jewish community here and abroad.
I would describe Hope as someone who is absolutely dedicated to our Jewish community, who has an enormous heart, and who has a warm, kind personality, but is no pushover.
I love her just as much today as the day I married her. I can't say that I'm amazed that she's accomplished what she's accomplished, because I kind of expected it.
This last 2 years, I think, have really been an interesting one for her for countless reasons. COVID really, I think, impacted the way that she thought that she was going to be the board chair.
I think fundraising is in person, and having meetings, I think making decisions, having back and forth while you're sitting across the table, to me, helps lead to better decisions. Hope had to deal with, oh, that's gone. And she accomplished it.
I mean, there was a lot of big stuff that she didn't get. She didn't have it. And yet we had the biggest campaign that we've ever had.
Her time as a board chair has been during COVID, when we're all separate and apart, yet somehow she made it work.
She was able to do that because she was very well organized in the Zoom meetings. It sounded like she knew everybody personally. And it's been fun to watch her.
The Federation has made extraordinary progress in community development, in its campaign, in its Ukraine campaign, and in dealing with the influx of a whole new set of young Jewish people coming in and changing the whole demographic down here.
She was focused on bringing additional people into the system. And he said it's remarkable because these young adults really are focused on what's ahead of them in this community.
She really has made a career out of volunteerism. She has worked for it, she's earned it, she's deserved every second of it, and she's done a beautiful job in a really difficult time.
She was the right person at the right time. From my point of view, I am extraordinarily grateful for her leadership during this period of time. All I can say is, I hope you have 118 more years of community service to Palm Beach and the Jewish world.
I think we're only at the tail end of her tenure as the chairperson, but we're not at the tail end of her tenure as a volunteer. She will get involved, and Federation will always be a part of her life. It's a lifetime, full-time commitment. That's why I had to become a donor, to get some attention.
Look, it is pretty special that she's getting honored this much. I am very proud of my grandma.
Good evening. I'm Marla Stills, Hope's daughter, and I'm here with my husband Travis and our daughters Hayden and Ava.
When you were asked to be board chair, no one could have predicted how COVID-19 would change our world and your experience as a board chair. Without hesitation, you shifted gears, learned the new technologies, and carried out your important work from home.
In spite of all of these challenges, you and your board not only met, but exceeded the fundraising expectations and goals that you had that fuel all of the essential work of Federation. And you did it with your hair looking Zoom ready and oh so good.
Grandma, we know you really miss the social connection that comes with a job like this. The woman knows how to work a room.
Mom, I'm so glad that you get to be in the room with your community tonight. We want you to know that we're inspired by your dedication to all the people Jewish Federation serves. We're so proud of you and we love you so very much.
Hope, please join me on stage. Let's give more applause for Hope as she comes on stage. So Hope, it is my pleasure as the smallest token of appreciation to present you with these candlesticks. These candlesticks match the Chanukiah that was presented to you when you were Women's Philanthropy Board Chair, so you now have a matching set. So.
They're gorgeous.
Okay. So we'll get into, we need a challah. We can work that out. We can work that out. We can work that out. So we have a few more tricks up our sleeve.
Enough with the Hope story here. Okay.
Okay. I would now like to call up Mark Levy to make a special presentation.
I hope. No, Michael, I was trying to steal your material there, but I know you're not easy to surprise, but hopefully we've surprised you tonight a little bit. Michael, I think we pulled it off. I know. On behalf of the whole Levy family, I would like to announce that you are the 2023 recipient of the Jean Levy Community Leadership Award. We will formally present you with the award at next year's Celebrating Philanthropy event, but we wanted to take a moment today to announce the news in front of our entire community. Mazel tov. Okay. Of course, this award, named in honor of my mother, Jean Levy, holds a special place in my heart and in the heart of my sister Lynn and my wife Stacy. We are so pleased that Federation has chosen to honor you with this, and we can't wait to celebrate in person in 2023.
Thank you so much.
Well, I think you're speechless. Not me. So I would now like to ask you both to give your board chair remarks.
So much.
I'm gonna move this.
Thank you. Thank you so
That's
much.
what we do.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Do I need the step stool? Really? Oh my goodness. Should I take my shoes off? Let's see. Maybe I'll be too, you sure I won't be too tall? Won't be too tall? No? Oh my God. Are you sure? You sure you like it like this? Okay, let's wrap it up. Okay. Thank you, Michael, for the beautiful gift and the heartfelt tribute. It's been such a joy to work alongside you these last 2 years. I've learned from you. I've been inspired by you, and boy, have I laughed with you. And thank you for your continued friendship and your leadership. And a special thank you to my dear lifelong friends, Vivian Lieberman and Anita and Bob Naftaly for co-chairing tonight's annual campaign. Your support and friendship means the world to me. Thank you, everyone, for being here both in person and in Zoom. I could not be happier to be actually standing here in front of you. I was installed as your board chair on Zoom. I participated in hundreds, no, thousands of meetings these past 2 years on Zoom. And we had last year's annual meeting on Zoom. In fact, our last in-person annual meeting was in 2019 in this very room. But now 3 years later, and with the world being maybe a little different than before, we have events in person and on Zoom. Jean, Taka, we should have bought stock in Zoom, missed opportunity. I am honored to give my final report as your Federation Board Chair in just a few minutes. But before I do that, we have exciting news to share about our outstanding fundraising accomplishments. Through Federation's fundraising efforts, we are able to make a significant impact in the local community in Israel and in 70 countries around the world. I would like to thank and acknowledge our incredibly strong volunteer campaign leaders. Rhonda Starr, Women's Philanthropy Campaign Chair. Ceil N, Women's Philanthropy Board Chair. Joel Udenfriend, Chair of the Jewish Community Foundation. Ron Pertnoy, Chair of the Corporate Sponsorships. And Betsy Shear, Chair of the King David Society. And of course, Brian Seymour, our campaign chair. Brian, please join me on the stage. Brian, you still are tall. Brian, you have done an incredible job as campaign chair the past 2 years, along with this entire team the past 2 years. I have enjoyed watching your leadership development over the years, and I look forward to seeing your continued commitment and growth in our Federation. Thank you for being a great partner and friend. Brian will give the campaign report on behalf of the entire campaign leadership team. Brian. Let me step down.
The stepping on the big joke's already too old. So I have lots to say, but I need to start with the thing that everyone starts with tonight. Thank you. Every time I wondered whether we were going to make it, every time I wondered whether I could keep going, every time I got a little tired, hope gave me hope. Hope picked me up and we kept going. Everything that has happened this last 2 years starts with you, and I thank you for it. You are one of the many reasons that I feel very lucky to have been the campaign chair these last 2 years. You're inspirational in every possible way. So in your agenda, this is titled Fundraising Accomplishments, which it is, but it's a whole lot more than that. Together, you all in this room and all of you watching from home and many others, thousands of donors in our community have been part of something big, something historic, even holy. Sorry, Rabbi, I'm going to try. I'm probably not qualified, but I'm going to say what we've done here is truly holy. As did all of us who started our roles here in 2020 under Hope's leadership, we started a little early. We were all going to jump in June, July, and then March 2020 came along, and we all had to step up. We had to ask some really hard questions. How strong were we? How much could this community stand? What could we do? What do we need to change? We've answered every one of those questions. This Jewish community is incredibly strong. We can do whatever is put in front of us, meet whatever challenge, and we can pivot. We changed the way we did things, coming fast into not just now, but being ready for our future. In my 2 years as your campaign chair, we've increased our annual campaign by almost 10%, mostly from sitting behind computer screens. This year, we are going to close our campaign at over $18 million. I said holy, 18, chai, life. I wrote that before we hit the 18. Thank goodness we made it. We did this with more than 150 campaign volunteers, along with our professional staff, who are truly amazing people, who go above and beyond to make sure that we can do what we do for this community.
I got to admit, I'm in awe of the $18 million number. I'm the campaign chair. How could I not be? But the number's not what really makes Hope and me proud. It's not what makes me a little bit emotional, a little bit verklempt. It's what the number and that increase represents. It's about the strength of this Jewish community. It's about all of us coming together when things are at their most difficult and at their most unknown that we've ever seen. It's about how we care for one another, how we step up to be there for one another. It's about this community and how we answered the call, how we said Hineni when our people we don't know, people we didn't see, needed us. As many of you know, who know me, I was once one of those nameless, faceless people. Nobody knew me. Nobody knew what I needed, but people stood up decades ago and said, we're going to help, even when we don't know. That gave me the chance to be standing up here tonight. You helped me just as you are helping others today. For this last 2 years, you all have inspired me. You kept me focused on making sure that we had the funds to do the things we could to make the lives of the people in our community better. The success of this campaign isn't about me. It's not even about the campaigner of the decade. It is about this community. The campaign is about all of us. So if you'll give me a moment, I'm going to ask you all to inspire me one more time. So if you're able, when I mention how you helped our community, how you stepped up, I'd like you to stand at your seat, or if you want at your home, and remain standing. I want to start with our fundraising committee chairs, the individuals that Hope just mentioned. Yeah, go ahead. I know you're here. Our fundraising leadership team, others who served as chairs of our campaign committees, again, remain standing. I want to thank you all for working so hard to make sure the results that we have been achieved. If you asked a friend to join you in making a donation to help our community, or you participated in our corporate sponsorship program, please stand up. If not, y'all need to be starting to stand now. And if you work for the Federation or one of our partner agencies or a synagogue, please stand up. We are so fortunate to have an incredible professional team. These folks work tirelessly for this community. You are the best staff that anyone could ask for, the best professionals that we could ever hope to work with, and we thank you. And for all of you who see these folks standing who are our professional staff, when you see them again, thank them. So if you attended one of our virtual events, which God, there were many, or more recently, our in-person events, either at our Federation or with our partner agencies, please stand up. And finally, and certainly not least, if you gave a gift, whether individually or as part of a family, to our annual campaign, if you endowed a gift, if you supported one of our partner agencies, please stand up. So by now, everybody is standing. Before I say one more thing, I need to thank one person in particular, because none of this happens if I'm not allowed to do it. So to my wife, Lisa, thank you. The nights that I sat at my computer, the weekends that I sat at my computer, the days I sat at my computer, I did a lot of computer sitting. The meetings, the writing, the phone calls took away from some family, but it gave to this community and it wouldn't have happened without you. Thank you. I'm not done. So I want you all, I didn't say sit down. I want you to look around at all the people standing, because this, what you see, it's okay if you already sat down, Richie. This is what this community is about. This is what this campaign is about. And this is what inspires me every single day. You all are what I have loved most about this job, about this ability to be your campaign chair. So together, this community, all of you and your inspiration have raised over $38 million in total philanthropy. That is $18 million to our annual campaign. It is $14 million of legacy and endowment gifts through the Jewish Community Foundation and $6 million for other community partners. So on behalf of all the people that you've never met, and you probably will never meet, people just like me, I want to say thank you. Thank you for standing up, and thank you for bringing others with you. Thank you for trusting me to be your campaign chair. It is one of the most rewarding things I've ever had the pleasure to do. Thank you.
You want me back up here? Thank you, Brian, for that impressive report. I'm incredibly proud that through the strength of this community, combined with the power of a strong, stable, yet nimble federation, together we are changing lives. When I first became your board chair in June of 2020, during the height of the COVID-19, the Federation mobilized quickly. We launched the J-Help campaign under the leadership of Sandy Backlar and Carol Solomon, which provided grants to local and overseas organizations to address the emergency needs and critical services impacted by the global pandemic. I'm incredibly grateful to our partner agencies. They continue to do their critical work serving the Jewish community during these unprecedented times. The Mandel JCC continued to provide preschool, after school, summer camp in both the Palm Beach Gardens and the Boynton Beach locations. Federation provided scholarships to 200 more children as families were impacted by the economy. The enrollment at the Meyer Prep significantly increased these last 2 years, not just because of the excellent administration and teachers, but because the community had confidence in their additional safety protocols. Alpert Jewish Family Children's Service also remained open every day during the last 2 years. More than 1,000 people received emotional and mental health counseling since the pandemic began. Taking care of our most vulnerable is a core Jewish value, and Kramer Senior Services continued to provide care for our community's seniors in a safe and compassionate setting. We're now providing 90% more meals to local seniors and struggling families. I want to extend my thank you to the lay leaders and professionals representing our local partner organizations. At the Alpert Jewish Family Service, Board Chair Zelda Mason and CEO Mark Hopen. At Kramer Senior Services, Board Chair Terry Schreiber and Senior Vice President Dr. Alan Sadowski. At the Mandel JCC, Board Chair Ira Gerstein, as well as President and CEO Jesse Rosen. At the Community's Jewish Day School, Meyer Prep, Board Chair Lisa Schreier and Dr. Richard Cuenca, head of the Posneck School Network. Thank you all for doing your job. Our impact extends overseas as well. Because of our partnership with the Jewish Agency for Israel and the American Jewish Joint Distribution Committee, JDC, the Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County is fully invested in Israel and in the Jewish communities around the world. At the start of the pandemic in 2020, through J-Help, we expanded critical services for vulnerable families in the Khazar Partnership region in Israel. Then 1 year later, in May of 2021, thousands of rockets were launched at Israel from Gaza by Hamas. In the aftermath of the 11 days of violence that occurred, we were one of only 5 communities in North America that reacted quickly and went to Israel. I was so inspired by the 10 individuals from our community that dropped everything to go to Israel and show solidarity with our Israeli brothers and sisters. As I stated in our core values, we have a shared commitment to Jewish people around the world. When the war broke out in Ukraine, our community responded with a level of generosity that is really hard to fathom. Your philanthropy has provided more than $2 million towards Ukrainian relief and a lifeline to the country's most vulnerable. We were able to mobilize so quickly because we were already there. The Jewish Federation, the Jewish Agency for Israel, and the JDC have spent decades doing critical work in the Ukraine for the approximately 200,000 Jews who lived there before the war. We were already in position to provide highly effective and critical services for the tens of thousands of vulnerable Jews. For thousands of these refugees, that includes immigration to Israel. Your generosity has funded 9 planes evacuating Ukrainian refugees from their war-torn homeland to the Jewish homeland. In a few minutes, you'll hear more details from our incoming board chair, Susan Shulman Pertnoy, who visited the Ukraine and Poland border during the first weeks of the war and witnessed the impact of our work firsthand. Thank you to Susan, Betsy Shear, and our CEO, Michael Hoffman, for representing our federation in Eastern Europe. I want to acknowledge and highlight the many Federation committee leaders who've worked tirelessly over the past 2 years. We fundraise so that we can make an impact. The allocations of financial resources to our partners and programs happens through the Federation's Finance Committee led by Beryl Simonson. Our community strategy and planning team led by our allocation wizard, Steve Ellison, and the Israel and Overseas Committee is chaired by Artie Lehrhoff. The Jewish Volunteer Center, led by Juliana Gendelman, rose to challenges they could not have imagined. The hundreds of volunteers provided thousands of meal deliveries, kept our beaches clean, hundreds of toiletry kits prepared and delivered, animals cared for, and rallied our community together in support of MLK Day of Service and Good Deed Days. Our Commission for Jewish Education, led by Jim Baldinger, did not only provide high-quality Jewish learning opportunities for every age and ability, they also found a way to safely bring hundreds of people together to celebrate Hanukkah at the square in West Palm Beach. Our family outreach and engagement team, led by Shane Silver, is doing a remarkable job innovating how we engage young families who live here, as well as the hundreds of new families that are moving here. We are breaking new ground with our education for children with differing abilities, thanks to my friend and committee chair, Anita Naftaly. Our Jewish Teen Initiative, led by Brian Lemmelman, is designed to help teens find meaningful connections through Jewish values, including putting together sessions for high school students that build up their ability to combat anti-Semitism on campus. And through our Jewish Community Relations Council, led by Lynn Pasekas, we've brought insightful speaker programs, including many advocacy forums, which are so desperately needed at a time when anti-Semitism incidents are on the rise. We appreciate and spotlight our committed philanthropic leaders in our various events, gated community events, parlor meetings, major gift events, women's philanthropy luncheons, business and professional events chaired by Amy Terwilliger, and our King David Society briefings. And the highest honor we give is the Jean Levy Community Leadership, which was presented this year at our Celebrating Philanthropy event to Barry Berg, Mazel Tov to Barry, on this very well-deserved honor. In addition, yes. Thank you. In addition to grappling with the pandemic, fundraising, and offering Jewish engagement programs, two important strategic initiatives were completed thanks to the leadership of the Human Resources Committee, led by Charles Gottesman in 2021 and Lynn Kasten in 2022. At last year's annual meeting, I unveiled the new core values that you see on the screen. They support the Federation's mission and vision and illustrate the principles and beliefs that guide our work. Tonight, I am pleased to present Federation's new inclusivity statement, which was voted on and approved by the Board of Directors earlier this evening. The statement reads, Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County embraces a culture of diversity and inclusivity in accordance with our Jewish values. We celebrate the uniqueness of our community members, lay partners, and staff as varied perspectives enrich our learning and reinforce our commitment to making the world a better place. We aim to create an accessible environment that accommodates individual needs and welcomes the full participation of our community. Thank you to Lynn Kasten and her committee. Thank you very much. This is really exciting. As I continue the many thank yous tonight, I must simply acknowledge that during my term, I've been so fortunate to work alongside an incredible Board of Directors and Executive Committee. And to the more than 300 lay leaders serving on Federation's committee, you have each worked diligently and on the many critical issues affecting our community, all the while helping us to exceed our fundraising goals. Thank you so much to all of you. I'm so proud of you and I am eternally grateful to you. I want to particularly thank the outgoing board and committee chairs whose names are on the screen. You have gifts, so please pick them up before you leave tonight. After today, our board will be led by Susan Shulman, Pertnoy, for whom I have tremendous respect. Susan has worked tirelessly for our community for many years and will be an exemplary board chair. Susan, I am passing the baton to you. You already have my phone number. Put it on speed dial and call me anytime. When you look at the professional leadership at Federation, you can see that our CEO, Michael Hoffman, is leading by example with dignity and a clear vision for what we can do today, achieve tomorrow, and well into the future. I'm so grateful for the support and the partnership of the Federation executive team. Mindy Hankin, the Chief Program Officer, Matt Kernkraut, the Chief Development Officer, Kathy Siegel, the Chief Financial Officer. The entire Federation staff is simply second to none. The dedication I have witnessed during my 20 years plus of involvement here, and specifically over the last 2 years, has left an impression on me that will never fade. Thank you to Liz Lanus, the administrative assistant, for keeping me on time and online. My final thank yous are to my family for their support always, and in particularly over the 2 years serving as your board chair of the Federation has been a dream come true. There is no way I could have done it without them. To my dear husband, Gene, who didn't complain when I turned our dining room into an office and has patiently sat through what seems like 4,000 Zooms to him, you're the best. And to my daughters, Denise and Marla, and my son-in-law, Travis, and my wonderful grandchildren, Hayden, Ava, and Evan, I really love you all. Thank you all for giving me the greatest gift, as being your board chair the last 2 years. I have loved every minute of it. Thank you so much.
Hope, I am so incredibly proud of you. You are such a good example to all of us. Inspiring great leaders is critical to the success of any community. That is certainly true here. We are fortunate to have robust leadership programs as part of the Mandel Center for Leadership Development, including our Mandel Leadership Institute, or MLI, and our Emerging Leadership Program, ELP. Here with a special video message is ELP Cohort 8 Chair, Pam Cometer.
Good evening. It's hard to believe that 2 years have passed so quickly. Being the first female chair of ELP has been a remarkable experience. When you add to the mix a global pandemic, an incredible group of young leaders who have demonstrated some of the grit it takes to be a leader, and running a full curriculum, I am so proud to have been a part of the strategy, development, and implementation of Cohort 8 of the Emerging Leadership Program. Watching it evolve with committed individuals who are the next generation of Jewish leaders has been inspiring. Please join me in recognizing the following young leaders who have completed the 2 years of ELP. These incredible leaders have had an exciting journey. Please join me in giving them a round of applause as tonight marks the conclusion of their program.
Please stand.
It is now my honor to announce that our new chair of ELP from 2022 through 2024 is Adam Jackowitz, alumni of ELP Cohort 6 and MLI Cohort 3. Adam, our community is so excited to see where ELP goes next with you as the next leader. Mazel tov.
And now a special message from our MLI Cohort 4 Chair, Amy Gerlich.
Hi, my name is Amy Gerlich, and I am the chair of the Mandel Leadership Institute, or MLI. The MLI program has just finished its 4th year. The program emphasizes leadership, the idea of Jewish peoplehood, and key issues related to our roles in the community. Participants are exposed to thought-provoking and practical materials that can be applied to their leadership. The program is designed for participants spanning a broad age range and a cross-section of Jewish organizations. This year, the national curriculum was tailored to our all-women's group. I am particularly proud that this year's MLI cohort was a class of all women, and it has been very meaningful for all of us to learn and grow together. This cohort was created and run in collaboration with Federation's Women's Philanthropy. I want to take this opportunity to thank Rachel Berg of Women's Philanthropy, Lindsay Hirsch of the Mandel Center, and our dedicated facilitator, David Levy, for all of their teamwork and collaboration throughout the year. It has been a wonderful year, and I'm happy to be here tonight as we acknowledge my friends and peers who have accepted the same challenge I did a few years ago in completing the MLI course on leadership in our Palm Beach Jewish community. Please join me in recognizing the following leaders who have completed Cohort 4 of MLI. We look forward to your continued growth and your impactful leadership in our community. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Our acknowledgement of leaders continues with the presentation of the Robert S. and Ceil N. Levy Young Leadership Award. Here to do the honors is Brett Sandella. Brett was the winner of this prestigious award last year.
Thank you, Vivian. I'm honored to have been selected as one of the 2021 recipients of the Levy Young Leadership Award, along with Pamela Cometer. I join a long list of leaders who have been presented this award for over 40 years. Being selected for this honor is definitely not the end of your service to the community. Each of us has been challenged to answer the question, what are you going to do to improve Jewish Palm Beach and beyond? Young Levy Award winners are invited to be active participants in planning the future of Jewish Palm Beach. First, both the Levy family and the Federation invests further in you. You're encouraged to think creatively and to innovate for the future. And finally, you experience the vastness of our global Jewish community. I am so honored to present this prestigious award to this year's recipients, Ilana Cannell-Rickel and Scott Holtz. Ilana is an alumna of ELP Cohort 6. She's been involved in young women's leadership and even won the Women's Young Leadership Award in 2019. Ilana currently serves on the board of Mandel JCC. She grew up here, attended Meyer Academy, and started participating in Federation's fundraising when she was just 16 years old. She is gracious, compassionate, and dedicated. Ilana and her husband embrace leadership and dedication to the Jewish community and are raising their son here. Scott is an alumnus of MLI Cohort 1 and went on to chair MLI Cohort 2. He's currently a member of Federation's Board of Directors, where he also sits on the Human Resources Committee and the JCRC Board. He's on the board of this synagogue and is about to start the inaugural Wexner Heritage Leadership Cohort. He's someone who cares about being Jewish just as he cares about the welfare of the Jewish community. Scott grew up in South Florida, and he and his wife are also a family of leaders in the Jewish and secular communities. Ilana and Scott, Mazel Tov.
Good evening, everyone. I have 20 seconds to say thank you. It was made very clear. And there's way too many people to sincerely thank, because I'm not here by accident. I'm here because of my parents and the values they instilled in me, the sacrifices they have made so that I could be here today, and that I could, that I know that the importance of giving back to our community. I also want to thank my husband for his support. He always says, why are you saying yes to another committee or another job? You just retired. But I can't help it. I want to thank my in-laws who have always supported me, and I've learned so much from you. And there are so many Jewish and lay professionals that are here today and that are here via Zoom that I've learned so much from, namely Mindy Hinken, who got me involved in Federation when I was just a teen and believed in me and has been a mentor for me my whole life. Lindsay with ELP, Jesse of the Federation, of the JCC, and so many more. Michael, thank you for your leadership. Thank you to the Levy family for this honor. It is truly a privilege. Thank you.
I want to thank the Levy family for sponsoring this award and the committee for selecting me. It is truly an incredible honor. I wouldn't be standing here without my family. My mom, Joan, who's here tonight, and my dad, Alvin, of blessed memory, who raised me in a home full of Jewish pride and love for family and for the Jewish people. And of course, my wife, Cecilia, who graduated from MLI tonight. I'm very proud. Without whose love and support, I wouldn't be able to do anything, and who inspires me to try harder and be better in all things. It was also particularly meaningful for me to receive this award here at Temple Emmanuel tonight, because if tonight is but one milestone in my Jewish leadership journey, truly the first steps I took along that journey happened here at Temple Emmanuel when I was invited to join the Board of Trustees here. And I was welcomed into a community of friends and leaders who continue to inspire, nurture, and encourage me in service to the Jewish community. If I can play but a small part in service to the Jewish people here in Israel and around the world, and stand on the shoulders of the leaders who have come before me, then I am certainly grateful for the opportunity to do so. Thank you very much for this award.
Another reason to join Temple Emmanuel, you win awards. Alana, I know you only had 20 seconds. You're doing better than me. It says here, I'm supposed to start at 8:09 and I'm supposed to be done by 8:07. Okay. Good evening on your go as fast as I can. Good evening. On your program, the next speaker is supposed to be the former board chair, Ira Gersten. Ira is joining us on Zoom. Hey, Ira, nice to have you with us at home. And so I'll be presenting the nominating report on Ira's behalf. I'd like to ask the 2021 and 2022 Executive Committee to please stand and remain standing. Will the 2021 and 2022 Board of Directors please join them, stand, and remain standing. I hereby discharge you of your duties. You have served with dedication and commitment to the Jewish community. Thank you for your service. Please join me in a round of applause. The nominating committee, whose names are on the screen, have been hard at work these past few months and have carefully selected a group of talented individuals as the 2022-2023 Executive Committee and Board of Directors. As provided by Federation bylaws, the new officers, Executive Committee and Board of Directors were elected earlier this evening at the Federation Board meeting. In a moment, I will have the pleasure of installing the 2022-2023 Executive Committee and Board of Directors of the Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County. But before I do so, I was asked to just say a word about leadership, and I'll make this very brief. There's a very famous passage in the Torah where Moses is watching an Egyptian beat the heck out of an Israelite slave. And it says, "Hu histakel kovako," he looks this way and that way, "V'hine ein ish," and then he goes, he looks this way and that way, and he sees that there's nobody around, and he kills the Egyptian. The rabbis don't like that because it makes Moses into a murderer. So instead, they reread it and they say, "Hu histakel kovako," he's watching something that needs to be done, to be stopped, and he looks this way and that way, and hine ein ish, there's no mensch. No one, there's people there, but they're not doing anything. Hine ein ish, there's not a mensch doing anything. There's no one standing up. No one's being, quote unquote, the man to go and intercede. And that's when he acts. Every single person who takes on a leadership role has a moment where they have to decide if they're going to act or not. If you're going to go ahead and take the blood, sweat, tears, time, money, energy, investment, and put it into something from the goodness of your heart. And every single one of the people who we're going to be mentioning have made that choice. You are truly the Moseses who are looking and seeing that so many people who don't do it, you decide to do it. You decide to roll up your sleeves, to put your strong arms into the challenge, and to grab on with strong hands and make something beautiful and sacred happen. And so I'd like to get our installation of our wonderful new leaders underway. I'd like to call your attention to the screens. Will the 2022-2023 Executive Committee stand and remain standing? Will the 2022-2023 elected Board of Directors, new and continuing, please rise and join the Executive Committee and remain standing. The Federation Board also includes past Federation Board chairs, Federation honorary trustees, and local partner agency representatives. Will all of those individuals please join the rest of the board and stand? We sincerely thank you for committing to lead our Federation and Jewish community. You have the responsibility to ensure Federation continues to impact the lives of Jewish people here in Israel and in 70 countries around the world. Our community has complete confidence in your leadership. It is my honor and privilege to install you as the 2022-2023 Board of Directors of the Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County. Mazel tov, and together may we go from strength to strength. You may now be seated. And it is my joy and privilege to now call up Alan Shulman, who will be installing Federation's new board chair, Susan Shulman Pertnoy.
I have about a half hour to speak. Which I'll try to do in 20 minutes. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alan Shulman. I've lived in this community for 53 years. My claim to fame is I'm the father of Susan Shulman Pertnoy. I speak to you, Susan, not only on behalf of the community. I speak to you as the head of your family, many of whom are here today. Your sister, your brother, some of your grandchildren, your children. Susan is very busy. Susan has 6 children. She is also called grandmother by 10 grandchildren. Very difficult for me to believe that, by the way. But she is very busy. How she has determined to devote the next few years to the holy work of becoming the chairman of the Jewish Federation Board of Directors is sometimes startling to me. But she's a young lady who has always come forward with challenges. She's smart, intelligent, well-educated, and charming. She's got it all, including a wonderful husband, Ronnie Pertnoy, at her side, another great community leader. And she follows in the steps of many individuals in this community who have held this exalted position, including her beloved mother, Barbara Kay Oliver Shalom, who served this community a number of years ago with such great distinction, with such wonderful energy and commitment of personal resources. I know how Barbara would feel to know that her beloved daughter, Susan, is carrying on this kind of tradition in this Shulman clan. We're a very large family. We're almost a tribe. But we pride ourselves on being a Jewish family. Walk into many of our homes, you'll see libraries with books of Jewish content. You'll see items of Judaica on mantles. It's not uncommon for all of the members of the family, together with their children and grandchildren, having Shabbat together, sometimes lately Zooming one another to wish each other a good Shabbos. It's very special. That's the climate, that's the atmosphere, that's the surroundings that Susan is a product of. She can do this job. She earned the right to do this job. She served with distinction as chairman of the J for a couple of years, sometimes during very difficult times. She served, so she knows the community. She grew up here. She served as chairman of the Overseas Committee. She knows the international Jewish world. She understands what it is the American Jewish community is challenged with. She knows this is a society that is not lived by the rhythm of Jewish life. Those are the challenges we have, not only in Palm Beach County, we have it throughout the diaspora world. But she's up to this challenge. I know she is. I also know that I come from best way to put it, a generation of fathers who are accustomed to giving advice. And I have given much advice to my wonderful 3 children. So Susan, I'm going to give you a few tidbits of advice as you take on this awesome responsibility. And it is a big, big job. For example, govern by consensus, but never compromise on principle. Remember that the smartest people I know are the people who know what they don't know. So that when you need counsel and advice, find somebody who really knows. Set standards of excellence. Inspire others to join you in the joy and privilege of helping others. And finally, Susan, remember that this federation is a treasure of this Jewish community. Protect what it stands for, always. Don't forget, lay leadership, professional leadership come and go, but the organization stays. Protected always. And so on behalf of this wonderful Jewish community and on behalf of your large extended family, we wish you a mazel tov, as I have the privilege, the personal privilege, as your father, to install you as the incoming chair of the Board of Directors of the Jewish Federation. Just a few words.
Whoa. Okay. Hi. Dad. Thank you so much for your inspiring words. You coming from such an incredible man, you truly were born with a silver tongue. You've always played, excuse me, I'm overwhelmed. Just give me a second. You've always been such a role model for me, and I really feel blessed to have such a learned and accomplished man as my father. Your life's passion has been caring for the Jewish people here and around the world, and you've taken on countless roles in the Jewish community, including as board chair of this federation from 1978 to 1981. I truly appreciate the counsel you provided me, and something tells me you're not done giving me advice. My mother, Barbara Kay of blessed memory, was also an inspiration to me throughout my life. She was passionate about ensuring a bright future for the Jewish world and worked tirelessly to achieve that. Our Jewish Federation's success was a top priority, and she held the position of board chair as well from 1991 to 1994. Actually, this is the first time in our Federation's nearly 60-year history that a board chair has had both parents previously serve as chair. There's no pressure or anything. In my family, volunteering is a calling. My stepmother, Elizabeth Shulman, has been a leader throughout our community, and my stepfather, Jack Kay of blessed memory, was a devoted leader here as well. They've all spent significant portions of their lives working with countless other committed volunteer and professional leaders to move mountains in order to make sure that the Palm Beaches would become exactly what it is today, a thriving, dynamic Jewish community. And that's a far cry from what this area was like when we first moved here in the 1960s. I believe our entire community is fortunate and can enjoy what we have here today because of all of the hard work done by so many great Federation leaders. And that most certainly includes the current board of directors and Hope Silverman. Thanks to them, we're in an extraordinary position to step into the future. And just a quick aside, Hope, thanks for the invitation to put your number on my speed dial, but it's already there. In all seriousness, Hope and the entire board have paved the way for Federation to write so many new chapters in the story of Jewish Palm Beach. Several of the experienced leaders on our board are taking on new roles this year, and I want to acknowledge them. They're on the screen. I'm also elated to announce that we have 12 new board members, and we're looking forward to their fresh ideas and perspectives. So to the entire executive committee, the board, our many campaign ambassadors and committee leaders, I share my sincerest gratitude. As I take on the role of board chair, one of the things that is absolutely on the top of my mind is the war in Ukraine. In March, just weeks after the war broke, Federation CEO Michael Hoffman, board member Betsy Shear, and I were invited to join several Federation leaders from all over North America on a mission to Ukraine and Poland border. It was an opportunity to see how our community's generosity was being put to use on the ground. I couldn't have imagined the devastation I saw, but I was so proud to see the determination, efficiency, and kindness with which our global partners at the Jewish Agency for Israel and the JDC responded. They have ramped up their long-term work in Ukraine and pivoted to wartime relief and evacuations. Our delegation saw hundreds and hundreds of mostly women and children pouring out over the border. And I've now seen with my own eyes how every penny of the emergency funds our community has raised is desperately needed there, throughout Eastern Europe and in Israel, where thousands of Ukrainian Jews and now Russian Jews have either already immigrated or are in the process of doing so. Actually, just last week, I returned from a trip to celebrate my father's 90th birthday. Yep, it's true. That vibrant man you saw up here just a few minutes ago just turned 90. While we were there, my family and I had the opportunity to personally welcome one of the flights with the 50 Ukraine refugees who were making Aliyah to Israel. And in total, as was spoken earlier, our community has sponsored 9 of these flights. It's hard to describe the emotions we felt greeting these people who have just left their war-ravaged country and the heartbreaking stories they told us. It certainly deepened my long-standing connection to Israel. I've actually been traveling there since I was 12 years old. First, because of my parents' passion, but later, the Jewish homeland became a passion of mine as well. I encourage you to celebrate Israel whenever possible. And I invite you to join my husband, Ronnie Pertnoy, and me, and many other members of our community as we travel there next year to celebrate. It'll be Israel's 75th year of independence. And speaking of Ronnie, he's a leader in his own right at Jewish Palm Beach, and he's someone who shares my passion for Federation and its mission and the importance of giving back to the community. Ronnie, thank you for being a great sounding board and a huge source of support for me. You're always there to encourage me to follow my dreams. So you've heard me speak about my family quite a bit, but I realize that not everybody knows just how large my family is, although right now, after my dad spoke, you all know. I have 6 children and Ronnie has 2, so that's 8, plus their spouses, that's 12, and now 10 grandchildren and counting. And for both Ronnie and me, making sure that our children and their families feel welcome and included in our community is very important. That's why one of the most important goals for my term is to keep the momentum going on Federation's effort to make Jewish Palm Beach inclusive and welcoming to all. A few minutes ago, Hope unveiled Federation's new inclusivity statement. That's the kind of thing that makes me so proud to be part of this remarkable organization and community. More and more young professionals, families, and retirees are moving here, so let's engage them and expand our base. We have unprecedented opportunities to make our tent bigger. I want everyone to know about Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County, who we are, what we do, and that Federation is the city hall of the local Jewish community and the Center for Jewish Philanthropy. I want the community at large to know that everyone can access our services: Jews, non-Jews, multi-faith families, interfaith couples, LGBTQ+ families, and non-Jewish parents who are raising Jewish children. The dynamic of the family is changing, and we need to be inclusive of all. I also believe that leadership is at the core of how our Federation thrives and at the core of how our Jewish community will continue to thrive. Just look at the accomplishments of the young leaders we saw earlier in the evening. And there are 20 more leaders who have just been accepted into the Wexner Heritage Program, which is widely considered as the gold standard of Jewish leadership programs in North America. Take a look on the screen to see the names of those individuals who will start the Wexner Heritage Program this coming summer. Would all of you please stand to be recognized? So from where I stand, our future looks very bright. 7 years ago, I co-chaired the search committee for hiring our new president and CEO. When we interviewed Michael Hoffman, I knew we had a winner, but Michael has far exceeded my greatest expectations. Michael is an incredible listener, which I think is critical for effective leadership. He's also a man of action. He's compassionate. He's a visionary. And by the way, he has a wicked sense of humor. I've enjoyed a close working relationship with him and getting to know his family, including his very talented wife, Naomi, who is with us here tonight. Michael, I'm looking forward to working with you and your team of dedicated professionals as I now formally accept the position of board chair of the Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County.
Thank you, Susan, and congratulations. And I also want to take a moment and thank Alan for your very, very moving installation of your daughter to the most prestigious position in our Jewish Federation. So again, congratulations. And I want to congratulate all of tonight's honorees, the graduates, to Hope again, and to the many, many leaders who are completing their service or who are starting their service in support of our Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County. And it's because of you that Federation has had one of its most successful years in our long and storied history. And as we celebrate our accomplishments, we cannot rest on our laurels, and we must look towards the year ahead. Again, Susan, Mazal Tov on assuming the role of the board chair, and I look forward to your partnership. I look forward to benefiting from your leadership and from your vision as we strive to build a brighter future for our Jewish community in Palm Beach and our Jewish Federation. Susan, as you've heard, comes from a family that represents some of the most active leaders and philanthropists in our Federation's history. And yet Susan continues to create her own path, impact, and her leadership story. And I'm confident that she will continue in the legacy of leadership that her parents, Alan Shulman and Barbara Kay, and Hope, and the other board chairs who came before her, several of whom are here this evening, and that includes Mark Levy, Ira Gerstein, Ray Golden, Sandy Backler, Arlene Kaufman, Judith Levy. And I know that Susan will serve to exceed what those individuals had set a very high bar before her. Jewish Palm Beach is truly at a pivotal point in our history. What was once a very small Jewish community, which with a primarily older population, has experienced a staggering growth in what the New York Times has recently called a youthquake in Palm Beach. In 1970, we were home to about 9,000 people living in a Jewish home. In 2018, that jumped to 170,000. And now projections indicate that we will be upwards of 200,000 people living in a Jewish home in North County by 2026. We can clap. We are now one of the largest Jewish communities in North America, larger than Miami, larger than Baltimore, who's competitive, larger than Metro West New Jersey. But unlike nearly every other community in North America, Jewish Palm Beach is growing and getting younger. More Jews of all ages are choosing to make Palm Beach County their home year-round. The median age of our community has dropped from 70 to 60, and it continues to go down. And in West Palm Beach, the average age is now 36 years old. Plus, we have more than 25,000 children living in a Jewish home. These are exciting changes which bring opportunities as well as challenges that will not only become more pronounced in the years ahead. Frail seniors need meals, home care, and companionship, and we have an obligation to ensure that they can live the rest of their lives in dignity. Our teens are desperate for mental health support. Parents are having to make the very difficult decision to determine financially what they can afford, which will impact their children's Jewish identity experiences. And with this type of unprecedented growth, you can see that there is a need to build for the future starting now. That brings us to what I'm calling the next chapter for our Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County. I often describe our federation as a 58-year-old startup. As such, our next chapter will be defined by innovation, bold ideas, strong and vibrant agency partners, and by the committed leadership of everybody sitting in this room and on Zoom tonight. We have to be thinking and acting proactively in order to realize the aspirational changes that our community is calling on us to achieve. Step one of our next chapter, we will meet our booming population growth with new and expansive efforts that connects newcomers with local Jewish life. We've launched a newcomers initiative that reaches out person by person, gated community by gated community to welcome new members to Palm Beach County and help them find their path to Jewish involvement. And as the Palm Beaches gets younger, we're partnering with a national organization called One Table, which brings people in their 20s and 30s together to meet and connect with new friends over Shabbat dinner, and we can then connect them to other opportunities to engage in Jewish life. We're launching our new Wall Street South initiative, which connects the influx of financial firms coming here, their professionals and their families, with our Jewish community. Our partners at the Mandel Jewish Community Center are bringing Jewish overnight camp to the Palm Beaches with the launch of their new J Nights program, which is launching this summer. And to fulfill our commitment to inclusivity, we're partnering with several organizations such as Keshet to welcome in LGBTQ+ community members and their families to Jewish life. And we're also partnering with interfaith.org, another national organization, to learn new approaches on how we can best welcome multi-faith families so they feel embraced by our Jewish community. And we're strengthening our partnership with the synagogues in our community because we want to make sure, as Rabbi Resnick has already alluded to, we are finding ways to help unaffiliated families connect to congregational life. Our goal is sustained participation in Jewish life in whatever way they find relevant and meaningful for them. Step 2 is we will enhance our support for the growing number of people in need by helping our partners at Alper Jewish Family Services implement recommendations from their new groundbreaking strategic planning process, which has just been completed. And this includes expansion of services to younger demographics in need, such as with our Links program, which provides people ages 50 and younger with unique care management and mental health support. It means supporting new efforts aimed at addressing food insecurity for the thousands of seniors and families with children who don't know where their next meal is going to come from. It also means that so many struggle with inflation that we will continue to expand our Career Connections Employment Services program to include assistance with clients searching for affordable housing, searching for financial aid, and addressing the and underemployment issues that they are facing. And we will also help those employers identify new connections with those searching for a new job. Step 3 is that we will broaden Jewish educational opportunities to connect people with more relevant and accessible learning experiences. The Freeman Commission for Jewish Education is collaborating with synagogues to provide exciting new community-wide learning experiences throughout the year, such as our new Scholar in Residence program, as well as a new program called Sunday Together, which will bring together families with children year-round. We're encouraging innovation for teen programs with our new J Impact Fund, which is providing local organizations with grants so they can launch new programs that strengthens the Jewish identity for our teens. And we're working with Matan, another national Jewish organization that is bringing its expertise to the Palm Beaches as we help shape community connections to be a more inclusive community and accessible for the 1 in 5 individuals in our community who have some form of a disability. We're expanding opportunities to strengthen our connections to the people of Israel, by partnering with the Jewish Agency for Israel to bring 2 new Shinshanim, or young ambassadors, into our community, and they will work as part of our growing team at the Israel Program Center. And Meyer Prep continues to be touted as one of the leading K-8 Jewish day schools in the country as they pursue plans to explore the potential for a high school in our community. And finally, step 4 is that we lead advocacy and security efforts to stand up to hatred that serves to protect our Jewish community. Our Jewish Community Relations Council, or JCRC, has presented its Anti-Semitism Today presentation to hundreds in the Jewish community and the general community as we equip these to identify and combat anti-Semitism. We're proud of our strong partnership with the Palm Beach County School District, among the largest in the country, to ensure that the Florida Holocaust Education State Mandate is being implemented in our schools, as well as training administrators to confront and combat anti-Semitic incidents in our schools. And this past year, thanks to this thriving partnership, I am incredibly proud to share that 100% of the high schools in Palm Beach County had the opportunity to hear from a Holocaust survivor. And finally, our JCRC is actively advocating local, state, and at the local, state, and federal level to secure public funding to support community security needs for our federation, our agencies, and our congregations and Chabads. And this year, the JCRC successfully advocated for FEMA security grants of over $1 million, which help provide security funding for 12 local institutions. What's most exciting is that all of the efforts that I have been describing is just a taste of what's to come for our community. And there's no doubt with the dedication of our leaders, our generous donors, our agency partners, that we will be successful in continuing to make Palm Beaches a shining star of Jewish communities in North America. And of course, this transformational work that we do is only possible because of the remarkable dedication of our Federation staff. This has been a difficult 2 years for all of us, and that includes our professional team. And our team has risen to the occasion at every turn to overcome challenges, to pursue innovative solutions, and to do whatever is necessary to care for the community when the community has needed us most. And I'm beyond proud to work with this team of exceptional professionals. And please join me in thanking every member of our staff for the work that they have done this year. They are the best Federation staff in the entire country. And as we have built a team that is recognized across North America, we're also focused on retaining our staff and developing their professional practice. And in a time when we hear about the Great Resignation, I am impressed and appreciative to our professional commitment to the mission of our organization and to the commitment of just to do good. I like to recognize 2 of my colleagues of the team for impressive milestones this year. Sarah Rogers, our Senior Vice President for Development, as she celebrates 10 years at the Jewish Federation. And Rachel Berg, Vice President of Women's Philanthropy, as she celebrates 20 years. And Rachel's only 21, so go figure, go figure. Sarah and Rachel, thank you for your incredible commitment to our Jewish Federation. And now, as we conclude the evening, I get to do one of my absolute favorite things, which is to present the Debbie Rochfeld Professional Leadership Award. Debbie, can you join me on the stage? So as Debbie comes up, this award was created in honor of my friend Debbie Rochfeld, former longtime Chief Operating Officer of our Jewish Federation, who had a distinguished 40-year career at the Jewish Federation system locally and nationally. Each year, we honor a member of our team for exhibiting exceptional leadership, and this award includes a generous stipend for the recipient to participate in a professional development experience of their choice. While every member of our staff has stepped forward in an extraordinary way, this year's recipient is truly emerged in a way that must be recognized. And now, the drum roll, please. The winner of the Debbie Rochfeld Professional Leadership Award goes to Rachel Berg. Come on up, Rachel. What? You got it. It's your award. Rachel Berg is our Vice President for Women's Philanthropy. And if 20 years at the Federation wasn't proof of her commitment, let me tell you a little bit more why Rachel is so fitting of deserving this award. Throughout her extraordinary tenure with the Federation, she has proven to be one of the most dedicated professionals in our organization's history. Since becoming a professional leader of women's philanthropy, Rachel has truly soared to new heights. This past year, Rachel oversaw one of the most successful women's philanthropy campaigns in many years, more than $1 million increase in the 2 years that Rachel has served in her position. She has introduced innovative programs such as Lions Leap and Change Your Eye Color that have resulted in significant increases. She is a trusted colleague and friend to all that she works with. And even more, the Women's Philanthropy Board, who she gets to work with, looks to her as far more than a professional partner. She is a confidant and a trusted advisor to many. So please join me in applauding Rachel for her commitment to remarkable work and for receiving our organization's highest professional honor.
Okay, I get to say something. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Debbie. Debbie has been a mentor of mine for a very long time, and I am not who I am as a professional if it wasn't for you. So thank you. So it's amazing, really. I grew up in this community. My parents moved us here when I was 1.5 years, and I went to the JCC for preschool when I was on Okeechobee Boulevard. And it is amazing to be standing here now, able to give back in a way that I never thought that I could. And it's an honor and a privilege. So thank you for allowing me to be your partner in this.
So I hope what you have heard this evening fills you with a lot of pride. Your being here in person or virtually shows that you are part of an amazing story that we are continuing to write each and every day for our Palm Beach Jewish community. I am incredibly excited for our future, and I hope you are as well. I wish you and your loved ones a prosperous summer and a healthy summer. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.